the cameras flashed, the internet froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a completely new obsession.
Oh, absolutely. It was everywhere.
Right. Bunnie X says celebrities started messaging her after the divorce. Welcome to the Starscope Report.
Join us as we uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
We really do. And today we are unpacking the shocking, multi-layered separation between country music superstar Jelly Roll and his wife of nearly 10 years, Bunnie Xo.
Yeah, and we've brought a massive stack of sources to the table for you today. We're pulling from TMZ, Bro Bible, Taste of Country, and straight from the source herself.
Which is her incredibly raw, dumb blonde podcast.
Exactly. Our mission for this deep dive is to pull back the curtain on this viral saga just for you. Because, to understand how this marriage ended, you really have to understand how it started.
You do. This isn't just your standard celebrity breakup. It is a fascinating study of shifting power dynamics, public reinvention, and how a modern Hollywood couple is, completely redefining what life after divorce looks like.
Redefining is the perfect word for it. Let's paint that picture because it is so cinematic.
Yeah, take us back.
Okay, so it's 2015. They meet at a country saloon in Las Vegas, and Jelly Roll is not, he's not the Grammy-winning, chart-topping superstar we know today.
Not at all. He was struggling.
Yeah, he was practically homeless. He's living out of a 1996 conversion van, couch surfing, just trying to keep his head above water.
And there's Bunnie.
Right, Bunnie is making real money in the sex industry, eventually transitioning to, massive financial success on OnlyFans.
So they get married in a Vegas chapel in August 2016. And from that very moment, she becomes the absolute bedrock of his life.
The bedrock, the sources note that she essentially funded his early music projects.
Yeah, including his Addiction Kills album. She helped him navigate the legal system to secure custody of his daughter, Bailey. She was, by her own admission, the glue that held everything together.
She was managing his day-to-day survival.
Exactly. The financial and emotional infrastructure he literally needed to survive.
The glue. That's such a heavy burden to carry for a decade.
Oh, massive.
She said on her podcast that she was always protecting him, always making sure he was okay. But then we hit this huge, very public transformation over the last couple of years.
Right, the turning point.
Yeah. Jelly Roll loses more than 250 pounds. He conquers his demons. He hits the absolute peak of his music career, selling out arenas everywhere.
And he becomes, according to multiple sources, healthy, focused, and totally in control of his future.
Which is amazing. But wait, let me stop you there.
Sure.
Because hearing you describe Jelly Roll's transformation, it really makes me wonder, when a partner loses 250 pounds and achieves massive fame, does the dynamic shift so much that the caretaker, like Bunnie, is no longer needed in the same way?
That is such a crucial question.
Did he just outgrow the original foundation of their relationship?
Honestly, yes. That is the core of what psychologists call growth out of alignment.
Growth out of alignment?
Yeah. And the mechanism behind it is fascinating. When you weigh 400 pounds and are battling addiction, your daily psychological baseline is just survival.
Right.
Every room you walk into, you are managing how people perceive you, and you rely heavily on external emotional scaffolding.
And that scaffolding was Bunnie.
Precisely. But when you shed that weight and find sobriety, your brain literally rewires its dopamine pathways. You develop true autonomy.
So you don't need someone to manage your survival anymore.
Exactly. You don't need the caretaker.
Wow. Think about the relationships in your own life for a second. Have you ever outgrown the original contract you signed with a partner or a friend?
It is incredibly disorienting.
Yeah, Bunnie even said on her podcast that she felt like she was, quote, always the chaser, and admitted the marriage had become loveless.
And that obsolete job description comes with an immense psychological toll.
I can imagine.
For the caretaker, this newfound independence in a partner can feel remarkably similar to abandonment, even when it's disguised as success.
Wow.
So Bunnie saying she felt like a chaser makes complete clinical sense. The version of Jelly Roll she knew how to love.
The one who needed her intense protective energy.
Right. That version of him was gone. The new version didn't require that same scaffolding. They successfully fixed the crisis, but they didn't know how to exist together in the peace that followed.
To successfully build a life together only to realize the house you built doesn't fit you anymore.
Tragic, really.
It is. Which brings us to the actual breaking point. May 10th, 2026. Mother's Day.
Oh, the Mother's Day fight.
Yeah, after what Bunnie described as a full year of poor communication and just emotional drift, they have a massive argument. She's exhausted, she's fed up,
Understandably.
and she looks at him and says, well, then file the Fanning divorce papers. She packs a bag and she leaves.
And what stands out in her retelling of that moment is the weight of her words. She mentions that saying file the papers is usually the one cardinal rule she refuses to break.
Right, because he's usually the one to say it.
Exactly. She calls Jelly Roll the runner in the relationship. He's the one who has threatened it before. But when she says it, it shifts the reality of the room because she means what she says.
And he actually did it.
He really did.
On May 18th in Tennessee, he officially filed for divorce, citing irreconcilable differences. And almost immediately, Bunnie takes to her podcast and drops these incredibly raw truths about loving him more than he loved her.
That level of vulnerability is so rare for someone in the public eye.
It really is.
To openly admit that you felt a deficit in affection, it completely shatters that carefully curated, perfectly balanced image we usually see from celebrity couples.
Totally. And that's not even the wildest part. Wait until you hear who immediately started sliding into her DMs.
Oh my goodness, the DMs.
Yeah, but first, if you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead.
You won't want to miss them.
Because, look, when you lose that core caretaker identity overnight, nature abhors a vacuum. Something has to fill that silence.
And for Bunnie, the internet was more than happy to step in.
They were ready. Because the papers are filed and naturally people are trying to move on, Jelly Roll is already dating again.
Yeah. Bunnie actually noted on her podcast that, quote, Daddy Roll is probably in his finest season.
Right. She was joking that he's hopped up on testosterone, looking good, feeling himself. So the internet collectively pivots and asks, what is Bunnie doing?
And the internet decided to answer that by just flooding her inbox.
Flooding is putting it mildly. She reveals that her DMs are an absolute war zone.
A total mess.
We are talking blue check accounts, celebrities, multiple rappers sending her poetry.
It is the modern equivalent of eager suitors lining up at the estate after a highly publicized separation. But the specific messages she read aloud reveal a lot about how the public views her and, honestly, how little emotional intelligence these suitors actually possess.
Oh, the messages are hilarious and fully unhinged. There's one specific DM she read from a fan that I just have to quote.
Oh, please do.
This guy writes, "Hey girl, if you ever wanted to be with a man who doesn't have any tattoos, especially none on his face, I'm here for you. If you want to go back to someone who's a little more hefty than him, I'm your boy."
Wow. And she made her feelings on that particular approach very well known.
She loathed it. She made it crystal clear, like, do not bring up her ex if you are trying to flirt with her.
Right. She said she's trying to get away from him.
Exactly. They were treating her fresh grief like a competitive sport. And then we get to the infamous prison DM.
Oh, the 10-year bid.
Yes. A man who is literally currently behind bars sends her a message saying he's getting out on a 10-year bid next year.
Unbelievable.
And he asks her to let him go out and have a time with her. He promises it will be worth the wait.
The audacity of sending a romantic proposition from a prison cell is staggering.
It's insane, but it's Bunnie's response that went completely viral. She gets on the mic and she just deadpans. I mean, same. I just got out of a 10-year bid too. What are we talking about? She even joked that Jelly Roll would be calling her saying, bitch, what the?
Turning a decade-long marriage into a prison joke is a fascinating comedic pivot.
I look at it like an emotional pressure valve.
A pressure valve.
Yeah, like she's taking this massive, dangerous strike of public grief and routing it harmlessly into the ground through comedy so it doesn't just burn her house down. Is that a classic defense mechanism?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
It is a highly adaptive defense mechanism. Humor, particularly situational or self-deprecating humor, creates cognitive dissonance.
Makes sense.
Inside a traumatic event, like the dissolution of a marriage playing out for an audience of millions, the emotional heat is just unbearable.
Right.
So by turning the eager suitors and the inmates into a punchline, Bunnie is taking back narrative control. She's deciding how the public engages with her pain.
Instead of letting us see her cry about her lost identity, she's inviting us to laugh at inmates.
Exactly. And the context she provided alongside those jokes is vital here. Despite the bravado, she admitted to her listeners that she has only replied to 2 DMs.
Only 2. Out of thousands.
Right. She explicitly stated she feels like she has so much to work on with herself that she has, quote, Nothing to offer anybody right now.
She even mentioned that if she saw a male anatomy part right now, she'd probably just clock it real quick.
It's incredible self-awareness disguised as shock jock humor.
Totally.
The comedy is a shield protecting a very raw wound. She's navigating the profound loss of her partnership. The rappers and the inmates sliding into her DMs provide a convenient, absurd distraction from the very quiet, agonizing work of healing.
Which she admits she is entirely focused on right now.
Yes.
Well, later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming. Something that proves this story is far from over.
Because just when you think you understand the trajectory of this divorce, they completely rewrite the script.
It's wild because we understand Bunnie isn't ready to date, right? She is still healing.
Right.
But part of that healing involves a shared trauma with Jelly Roll that binds them together in a completely unexpected way.
It's a very heavy bond.
Let's talk about their IVF journey. Before the Mother's Day blowout, before the divorce papers were ever drawn up, they were actively trying to grow their family.
And the details are just heartbreaking.
They really are. Bunnie revealed that the IVF process left her a shell of herself. They tragically lost 4 embryos, first a set of twins, and then 2 more.
It's devastating.
She described it as one of the loneliest, darkest, most gut-wrenching journeys you can possibly be on.
From a clinical perspective, the physical toll of IVF alters your body chemistry and tests your absolute limits.
I can't even imagine.
To endure that profound biological and emotional stress while your marriage is simultaneously unraveling, it creates an almost inseparable level of shared grief.
And out of that grief comes the headline that genuinely stopped me in my tracks.
Prepare yourself for this one.
Despite the divorce, despite the separation, and despite Jelly Roll dating other people, Bunnie and Jelly Roll are still planning to have a baby together via a surrogate.
It is a completely paradigm-shifting revelation.
They are divorcing, but they are planning to co-parent this child, who they are calling Little Nugget, as one big happy family.
It's just
Unheard of. And to add another mind-bending layer to this, Jelly Roll is giving Bunnie the massive compound they were building together in Tennessee.
wow.
Because he knows how special that property is to her.
The level of generosity and the complete absence of vindictiveness is striking.
It really is. And Jelly Roll confirmed this unified front publicly.
He did at a concert, right?
Yes. Just moments after Bunnie dropped her podcast shedding light on all of this, Jelly was on stage at a concert in Saratoga Springs, New York.
Okay.
He addressed the crowd and completely shut down all the rampant internet rumors about cheating. He said, "Nobody cheated on nobody. The internet is a liar."
Grim.
And then he added, "That will be my best friend forever."
Declaring that to a massive crowd right after the divorce becomes public knowledge is a masterclass in protecting your partner's dignity.
It feels almost cinematic, honestly, but it brings up a huge logistical and emotional wall for me.
What's that?
Well, how do 2 people maintain the emotional boundaries of a divorce while simultaneously navigating the ultimate shared project of having a newborn? It feels like those 2 concepts should be violently allergic to each other.
It does feel that way. From a traditional psychological standpoint, you sever attachments during a divorce to create emotional safety.
Exactly.
But what we are looking at here is a highly evolved level of compartmentalization. This defies all traditional Hollywood divorce narratives. They have recognized that their romantic partnership, the marriage, has run its course. It served its purpose and it expired. But they are refusing to let the failure of that romantic contract dictate the terms of their family contract.
So they're separating the romantic failure from the familial success.
That is the key mechanism at play. They endured the trauma of losing 4 embryos together. That creates an undeniable bond that supersedes romance.
Right. You can't just erase that.
Exactly. By choosing to move forward with the surrogate, they're honoring that shared grief and their original commitment to bringing a child into the world.
But maintaining those boundaries has got to be incredibly hard.
Well, it will require ironclad communication. They will have to continuously separate their past romantic grievances from their present co-parenting responsibilities. But it proves that the end of a romantic marriage doesn't have to mean the destruction of a family unit.
It's simply a restructuring.
Yes, a highly evolved level of maturity.
A restructuring. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next in the world of pop culture. Because this restructuring challenges everything society teaches us about what a breakup is supposed to look like.
It forces us to examine our own deep-seated biases. We are so conditioned to believe that a divorce must be a war.
Yeah, screaming matches, divided assets, betrayal.
Exactly. which is why the internet immediately started churning out cheating rumors. We wanted a villain.
We did. We always want a villain in these stories.
Society struggles to process a peaceful dissolution. We assume that if you are ending a 10-year relationship, someone must have done something unforgivable.
But Jelly Roll and Bunnie are demonstrating that sometimes an era just ends.
You can outgrow a dynamic without having to destroy the person you built it with.
Giving her the compound, publicly defending her honor, moving forward with the surrogate.
These are the actions of people who deeply respect each other, even if they can no longer be married to each other.
It really is a completely new blueprint. And it brings us to a really thought-provoking place as we wrap up today's deep dive.
It definitely leaves you with something to chew on.
You know, you are listening to this, and maybe you've been through a breakup recently, or you're watching friends navigate a messy divorce. I want to challenge you to rethink your own definitions of a failed relationship.
The word failure implies a total loss of value.
Right. But if two people can walk away from a decade-long marriage with absolutely no cheating, with deep mutual respect, a shared compound, and a literal intentional plan to lovingly co-parent a brand new baby.
Is it really a failure?
Or is it just a successful evolution into a new kind of family?
It raises an important question about how we measure the success of love. It forces us to ask whether longevity is the only valid metric.
Maybe a successful relationship is just one that leaves both people better than it found them, even if the romantic part ends. You've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.